Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this TROND Prime X surge protector with USB charger. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So here it says screw mountable design, 22 AC outlets and 4 USB ports. So if you're looking for a lot of AC ports, this has you covered. On the side we have 18-month warranty, 30-day money back, and 100% satisfaction. We go to the bottom, we have the specs. The material is UL94 VO flame retardant polycarbonate plus ABS. Voltage compatibility is AC 100 to 250 volts. Max power rating is 1875 watts, 125 volts at 15 amps. Surge energy rating is 4000 joules. USB-A output is DC 5 volts at 2.4 amps max. USB-C output is 5 volts at 3 amps max. USB total output is 5 volts at 3.4 amps, 17 watts. And then we have the dimensions and weight here. So while we're looking at the specs, there's a couple things to mention here. This has 22 outlets, but you are limited by the wattage of 1875. So you're not going to put 22 space heaters in this. This is really for like computer equipment, AV equipment. A lot of that stuff you have lots of plugs, but there's a lot of stuff that's pretty low power. And on the USB charging here, it's pretty much basic. It doesn't have like power delivery and things like that, but it is decent. So if you had this hooked up behind your media center and you wanted to plug, say, a Fire TV stick into it, you wouldn't have to use the Fire TV stick. Power adapter you could plug into the USB here. So let's take a look at this. Here we have welcome guide. So we have different warnings and such, and this goes over like some of the specs and things. Specs are on the back side. Here it says widely spaced AC outlets, 38mm versus 30mm distance on regular power strips or surge protectors. So it'll support larger power adapters. Has that screw mountable design. Angled flat plug, fits in tight spaces. And what I was talking about earlier, this doesn't support like quick charge and PD power delivery. That doesn't mean you can't charge things with it. It will charge just fine. It'll just take longer. So let's get this out. So this does come with 4 screws. And here's the surge protector. There's nothing worse than when you have a power strip and you have it filled up and you need one more outlet. Using something like this, I think you're less likely to have that problem. So this has a rectangular design, has the on-off switch on the side, and this is also the circuit breaker has reset on there. So if that gets popped, you can reset it. The power light protected are the USB ports. So we have a couple ways to mount this here. We have these keyhole slots, so you can put screws in, then this would slide in on top. And if you do it that way, let's see, this can mount in this orientation with the cord down, or the cord could be off to one side. You can't mount it with the cord coming out the top with these. Now it also has screw holes on the corners. In that you can put it in any orientation. And I prefer these. These are easier. You can just put it on the surface you want, mark that with a pencil, drill holes and put your screws in. This also has rubber feet. And then here's the cord. Has a hook and loop strap on there. It's 14 gauge. The cord's around 5 foot long and it has this angled plug. I really like that. If you want to put this behind an entertainment console or something, it's not going to stick straight out of the wall. It's going to go down or to the side or up. So then you can put your furniture closer to the plug. So I'm going to get this plugged in, then we'll test it out. So I'm going to do something here that you normally shouldn't do, but I'm only doing it for demonstration, is I'm going to plug this into an extension cord. You should typically plug this directly into the wall, but I'm also going to plug a power meter in here because I'm going to plug some different things in here to test it, and I want to know how much power we're drawing. So I have this on watts now. I'll turn it on. And we'll see, it popped up to 0.3 watts, but then it went back down to 0. So this does have a USB charger in there, and there could be a little bit of a phantom power draw, but it's so low it's not even registering. So it's wider here on the side, so that'd be a better place for power bricks. So to start off, I'm going to plug in 2 Intel NUC computers with monitors. So one of the Intel NUC computers uses a regular cord, the other one uses a power brick, so I'll plug that in here. And now I'll turn those on. Now before I turn those on, we'll look here. We have about 3 watts of draw. Next I'll plug in a USB charger. So this has USB ports on it, but you may have greater needs. So that'll plug in. I've got an 8-port switch. So due to the angle of this could fit in the middle here and it's going to block these 2 outlets. Or we can put it on the end here and it leaves the others open. And that is something you'll have to deal with pretty much any power strip, is organizing so you don't block ports. So to do this as efficiently as you can. Okay, so we currently have 6 things plugged in and we're drawing 54.4 watts. Next I'll plug in 2 MacBooks. Okay, so that brought us up to about 90 watts. I'm currently using a ring light while I film this video. I'll plug that in. And I'll plug in my 3D printer. Now I'm not going to print with it right now, but it's in kind of the standby mode and we're at about 120 watts or so. I mentioned a Fire TV stick earlier, so I can plug that in one of the USB ports. Here I have an iPhone, I'll plug that into a USB port. I have a USB rechargeable flashlight. And I have that USB-C port, can charge a GoPro with that. So we're currently drawing around 130 watts. It's jumping around a little bit. So we've used 10 of the 22 outlets and we have 12 left over. And then I've used all the USB ports. So as you can see, this has an 1875 power rating on it. So with 4 computers plugged in, a 3D printer, a switch, and some phones, we're only drawing a little over 100 watts. Now these aren't high-end gaming PCs that have huge power supplies, but you could still do the math and see if this would work with the rating of this. But a lot of equipment is low power, so I could also potentially plug in like a printer, some speakers, LED lights. There are so many things you could plug into here, and I wouldn't even get close to the power rating of this. So as you can see, you can plug a lot of things in here and not even get close to the power rating. Now, if I were to plug an iron in here with a bunch of other stuff, I could easily go over the rating of this. But this isn't really made for plugging irons into. This is more for electronics. So that's the TROND Prime X surge protector with USB charger. I think this is a great option if you have a lot of things to plug in, especially if you have multiple power strips plugged into each other. That's not good to do. You can plug this one thing in and get everything plugged in one spot. I like that this has lots of mounting options. You can do those keyhole slots in the back, or it has the tabs. Has lots of rooms for lots of outlets. I'm guessing most people will not use all of these, but anytime I spec out a power strip, I like to have more than I need, so it gives me options, because when you have different size power bricks, you might cover different outlets and such. So if you had 8 things to plug in and you bought a surge protector with 8, you might not get all 8 things to be able to plug in. With a surge protector like this, it gives you many more options. So the ability to plug in a lot of things is one reason to buy it. Another reason is it's really kind of cool to have a surge protector with 22 outlets in it. A lot of people would hide something like this behind their equipment, but it could also be kind of a conversation piece. Something like this could also be put in like a boardroom or something, so when you have meetings, people can plug in all their devices. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.